Hey guys, my name's Shane,
My name's Shifty.
and this is our first episode of our new series called Nostalgia Rush. And in this series, we're going to go over some games from our childhoods that we kind of felt personally fond of. We're going to come back and take a look at them and just share our memories from when we played these games and give a kind of a new take on it. A new perspective now that we're a bit older and we've gamed a lot of other games.
And yes, absolutely. We have been to a lot of places since we've played these games. We are much older now. We are much more mature.
Much wiser.
Much wiser. These games define
Wrinklier.
our childhood. Okay, well, that's a little bit too far now, Shane.
Like a scrotum.
Oh my goodness, we're starting off strong, aren't we? So these games were ones that define sort of our childhood. These are sort of like the sort of the precursor games that sort of piqued our interest in this sort of field before we really got into the real meat of the industry. Now that it's really exploded in modern day times. Today we're going to be playing a legendary one, the OG Doom. Now, this is one that I'm sure many people of many different generations sort of started with, or at least have played, over the years. Even if it is just sort of like maybe the first few missions, or maybe if you have just seen it on YouTube, it's as they call it, the godfather of first-person shooters. And of course, with Bethesda Softworks, or not? No, I'm correct. Bethesda Softworks currently remaking the Doom sort of series. It has regained a lot of popularity and a lot of hits on sort of the internet. So we figure it's a good place to start for this new series, Nostalgia Rush, that we're doing. However, not every game will be as iconic. We're gonna do some ones that are maybe a little bit more obscure and are a little bit more sort of unique to myself and my of course my older brother Shane. Our sort of journey, and maybe hopefully introduce you guys to some classic OG games in the process.
If you're into obscure games and finding out about them, this will definitely be the series for you. So we'll kind of have a mix of some of the more mainstream classics as well as some of the more obscure ones. So without further ado, why don't we jump in?
Yes.
Shifty's going to be playing Doom. Of course, we can't be playing the multiplayer. We're in different cities right now, so.
Well, actually, it looks like
that.
you can. They recently sort of
really?
redid it, and they've added a local multiplayer which allows cooperative play if you owned it. So feasibly, we could have, but I actually didn't know they were doing this.
Well, you know what they had? They had a multiplayer option, I believe.
Yes, they did, but I don't think they had
the original.
cooperative gameplay on local multiplayer.
I don't remember that, so that might be a new addition to this.
This might be new, and I think Bethesda has really worked on this a lot. I think it's Bethesda. I think it is because the Bethesda.net here on the main menu. So I'm pretty sure they own the property these days. They've done a lot of work on it. I haven't booted this game up in a while, and of course that's sort of the point of this series. But yeah, anyway, as Shane said, we're going to boot this game up. We're going to start with the one that sort of means the most to us, and I'm sure it means the most to a lot of people. That's Knee Deep in the Dead, the first chapter of Doom 1, the original Doom. And
what difficulty are we going for?
Oh boy. Let's go... I kind of don't want to get shown up here, but I also kind of want to show my skills. I'm going to say Hurt Me Plenty.
Okay, nice and moderate, very well balanced.
Okay, oh, and they updated the controls too. Remember in the OG days, you kind of had to use the arrow keys. Now they actually have it so it's synced to your mouse movements too, and they actually also have it so that the reticule changes depending on the distance. So
it's quite a bit more advanced already.
This isn't actually necessarily the OG that we played back in the day. They have done some updates here, but that's okay because it gives us something to talk about here.
A few differences, and we'll see what we notice and what
Oh, look at the top. They even have
something.
They even have
that's
a thing
definitely
at the
different.
top to. That's new. That's brand
that's
new.
right.
Anyway, continue. Sorry.
So if you're in your 20s or 30s or older, this is very likely, this was very likely your first-person shooter experience, and that was definitely the case for us. I remember we would visit our grandma, and she had an old computer in her basement. I think it was a Windows 98 or something like that.
Yeah, one of those OG.
Maybe even a 95, and we'd play this game sometimes. We were really tiny, so we couldn't get too far into it on our own. But we had an uncle who would just speed run through the game, and we just used to just sit there and watch him play in awe as he ran through the entire game, just pretty much sprinting straight through.
Yes.
And we would always ask him, Uncle, can you come play the Doom?
Yeah,
we want to watch you play Doom.
Yeah, we don't want to play it ourselves, right?
Too scared, you know.
Yeah, we were quite young, and poor Uncle Tom. He was a legend for doing that, right? Can I shoot those guys? I can. And this is a little bit different from the ones Uncle Tom played, and it's worth a little nostalgia rush for maybe some of the older folk listening to this. When we played it at when we witnessed playing it at our grandma's house, that wasn't the full version. That was actually the old shareware version of Just Knee Deep in the Dead, the first chapter. And of course, for those of you who don't remember, maybe some of the younger crowd, shareware was sort of this old sort of promotional thing they used to do back when games were really starting to kick off, where they would sort of install automatically portions of games onto people's computers to sort of entice them to to buy the rest of the game. And on my grandma's computer, and of course she herself would never play it. I'm not really sure how my Uncle Tom discovered it, but Knee Deep in the Dead was downloaded on there, and sort of we as kids, when we were wandering around, playing on grandma's computer, assuming we just kind of discovered it, or our uncle showed us or something, and ever since then, as a kid growing up, you'd always think the game Doom as synonymous with being, at our grandma's house, and it was sort of one of the things I, at least personally, was excited for. So.
Yeah, definitely that strong association with visiting our grandma. So
and
most we got to play this game, maybe a couple times a year when we were little.
Mm-hmm. And I'd just like to say something, and this is a little bit of an aside from sort of this reminiscent that we're doing. I recently watched a really, really awesome documentary on YouTube from this guy, a really, really popular speedrunner called Carl Jobst. He is one of the most legendary and respected speedrunners, I believe, in the community. A really nice and intriguing documentary on the world record for this opening level hangar for Doom. I believe it's 8 seconds or something like that, which is absolutely unbelievable. And I showed my buddy Dylan, my roommate. It's literally almost unbelievable how frame perfect these speedrunners have to be. They start about right here, and they go like that, and they just keep going. They dodge all the enemies who are still here, perfectly bounce off the door, keep going. It's like, that was like 15 seconds, maybe more. They have it down to like 8. It's unbelievable just how optimized this game is. And it just kind of harkens back to just how iconic this game is, and the fact that people are willing to do that. And I'm pretty sure the record that guy broke had been standing for like 8 years. So that's crazy. Entering nuclear plant.
Level 2.
Now this is one I have a lot of memories of too. I have one memory that stands out, and that is where the shotgun is, which is right up here in this little nook. If the elevator goes right here, the shotgun. This is one thing I do.
And there's the expression.
Doom guy's face. Yeah, I got a shotty. Yeah.
Sadistic fuck.
And if I go over here, there's a staircase. These memories, I played it. Well, we played it so much, even though we did get to only play it a few times a year. The memories just stick with you, these first few ones, because these are the only ones we really got to see too often, right?
Yeah, I don't know that we usually got too deep into the game.
Got red key
or
card.
It kind of got too scary.
No, maybe only like twice did I ever end up seeing you or our older brother and fellow Crimson Black member Jordan ever get to the end of this. I'm sure Jordan played it though, not just Uncle Tom. Now that I think about it, but I remember literally just sitting down there and watching someone play it. And back in those days, as we said earlier, it was quite scary for a little youngin, right? I remember
all these pixelated monsters. They don't look too intimidating now, but
no, absolutely not.
believe me, back then.
Believe us, back then it was terrifying, and I remember actually having a nightmare that stuck with me about it, where basically they were playing, my dream version of Doom 2 or Doom 3, and being terrified of it because all the lights were off, and it was just a super scary game, and I couldn't open the door. The door was jammed, and everyone else was just annoyingly enjoying it, and I'm sitting there terrified. So I remember that, for some reason, that memory stuck with me, but fast forward years later, and I ended up purchasing it for myself on Steam. So I
Doom 2.
This one.
Oh, okay.
The original Doom, the one that gave me the nightmares. So
you faced your fears.
Well, faced my fears. I kind of grew out of them without even having to face them. I just kind of realized, oh, it's Doom. It's legendary. There's really nothing to be afraid of, and that's sort of something that just comes with age, I presume. It's really not something that worries me too much.
I actually found that power up to be quite scary.
Yeah, this is also something that scared me. And
look how creepy that power up is.
Yeah, that's very.
Face.
It's actually
the creepiest power up I've ever seen.
And I still
just like blang at you.
Yeah, and I still don't precisely know how you get that. I think you have to. There's something to open this. I think right here, or something along those lines.
Kind of a secret.
Yeah, there's lots of secrets in this game, and boy, I still can't figure them out. I haven't really played enough of it to know all the good stuff. I know probably some of the classic Doom players probably know exactly how to get to it, but I don't really know how. I know you open this and shoot guys, but I don't know if you can even get down there, if that's just sort of like a little extra thing. Maybe that's a secret in itself, I don't know. This is Nuclear Plant Mission 2. Double kill. See that collateral right there? Put me on your montage, Sai. Oh, wow, that guy's a beast. Did you see how many shots he took?
Should have meleeed.
Should have meleeed. Oh, yeah, this is before melee was a thing.
Well, I believe there's a chainsaw in this game, isn't there?
Oh, I suppose that does count.
That's kind of melee.
It's not a melee function. It's a weapon designed for melee. In modern games, melee is considered to be almost something separate in a way. It's sort of like a close-range alternative to shooting. I suppose with the chainsaw in this game, as a predecessor to it, is more so a weapon in and of itself. It
functions the exact same way as the gun. It's just within a shorter range, right?
I remember what happens here, and I'm going to be ready for it.
What could it possibly be? Oh, shit! I could see why you'd have nightmares about the lights going out.
Yeah, and, that's something that still kind of frightens me a little bit. Not darkness itself, but when the lights go out for no reason around me. Just like, oh, okay, that's a little spooky.
There's one level, a few levels ahead from now, I remember, where the lights flicker in this one long room you have to get through. That was the scariest part of that game for me.
Yeah, it's sort of like a maze, if I remember correctly, at one point coming up here. And, it takes a bit of navigation, because sometimes it gets really hard to, tell exactly where you are or where you've been, right? This guy's got nothing on me right now, though. And I always found sort of like the premise of this game to be very interesting, but maybe not so much in this sort of part. It's the next chapter that I only ended up playing once I bought it in like 2016 when I was older, just starting college, that I really started to realize just how interesting it really was. For those of you who care or know anything about the original lore of this game, it's like sort of a portal to hell was created on the moon of Mars, Phobos, and that's sort of where we are right now. The second chapter of original Doom takes place on Deimos, the other moon, and in that one it's really interesting because the Deimos base that humanity sort of created was slowly sort of being corrupted by the evil. So I found the environment really interesting there. Oh, the thing opened up behind me. I found the environment really interesting there because there were parts where like the demons and the evil and hell portal itself or whatever has started to like corrupt the environment, and there's certain portions where like the walls had become all demonic looking and stuff like that. And I think it was a really good sort of precursor to maybe examples of sort of environmental corruption that you see these days, such as in, you know, like with Halo, like the flood sort of infesting, you know, previously inhabited environments and stuff like that. And I realized that maybe games like this sort of were the inspiration for those creators, you know?
Yeah, that's definitely highly possible.
And of course, maybe the flood itself, not the exact inspiration for that, because as we know, I'm pretty sure that was inspired more from like the Predator and Alien sort of genres. I can't get these open. These are on a timer, if I remember correctly, right? You have to stand.
You'd remember better than me.
Yes, you have to stand on this thing.
Oh, there you go.
All right. Yes, the machine gun, underrated. And
this is my favorite weapon by far. The chain gun, just a massive chain gun.
You kind of stun them too. It's sort of interesting. I didn't realize you could. Oh, you can. I remember this. Haha, loser. This one's very satisfying. Has a bit of good range too, actually. Okay, so I'm gonna take that and sprint down there and go through that thing.
It's amazing how quick the movement is in these games, hey, compared to modern shooters. Seems like shooters, slowly the character got slower and slower, so that you'd require to use sprint.
Yeah. And you know, I think there was a lot of reasons why sort of that's cool right there. That's a new thing they added. I think a reason why they kind of added, I guess, slower characters, I think was maybe so players got a little bit more out of the environment around them instead of just sprinting by it.
That makes sense.
Back in these days, this environment isn't good looking by today's standards, and they knew it back then. But back then, they knew they had nothing to show, so they gave you quicker movement so you could get onto the shooty McShooties a little bit fucking quicker, right? Nowadays, it's slow so that you can really take in a lot of maybe some more of the storyline and the world building elements that come with sort of an environment these days. And I should also mention that I'm not a designer of video games by any means. I'm just sort of going off of video game experience and sort of intuition, but that's sort of my take on it.
And I imagine, you know, having a realistic running speed adds to the immersion, since games are much more realistic these days.
Yes, absolutely. I believe here we go toe-to-toe with our first Pinky.
Pinky.
Oh, he's right behind me. Here we go, right
That's
here,
not a
buddy.
Pinky.
That's a Pinky right there.
Oh, it is a Pinky.
Yes, I heard him coming.
Not anymore.
And I don't know where I'm at.
Well, it is a maze.
I suppose that's the point. Ah, jeez. Well, it is a maze. I'm just finding a lot of power. Oh, well, that's like that guy. I think this is the way here. Oh, Pinky.
Another Pinky.
You did. I'm catching a little ear for the I'm catching a bit of the music here in the background. It really doesn't fit this environment. It sounds kind of happy.
Doesn't fit any environment.
It sounds kind of happy.
So I can't hear it too well, but is it the old MIDI like?
Yeah.
Guitar music. Oh yeah, perfect.
And it's really sort of a far cry. Well, the music in this is iconic. Let's be real. Doom music is legendary, but one thing about it is that I think Bethesda took it up to like 11 with their remakes. I'm not sure if you, Shane, have heard the score that they have and like the music that they have in the new one, but
I haven't.
Oh my goodness, it's stuff that a lot of people have like gotten on like soundtracks because it's just the heaviest, riffiest sort of game soundtrack anyone's ever heard in a while. And Mick Gordon did it to composer. And
so is it actually actual recorded instrumentals? Or?
Yeah. They
Wow.
From what I understand, it's a cross between sort of guitars and bass and sort of traditional instruments with like industrial sound effects they get from some it's almost Foley sound like the places that they get it from, like electronic squealing and old analog instruments and stuff like that.
Interesting.
And it's really good, and I recommend anyone who hasn't heard it should take a listen to that. I also just have to point out that I'm pretty sure this is the part that they had to change in the remake, because originally it was a swastika. This shape in the ground that falls down sort of to reveal enemies. Originally it was a swastika, or at least that's what people said it looked like. I believe they ended up changing it like a long time ago. I don't actually remember playing it firsthand where, you know, I got to see it, but that's another interesting fact for those of you who happen to not know it. Phobos Lab. No, this is the one that is on sort of like the little playthrough in the main menu. One of the ones, of course, they're playing on like nightmare mode. They have like invisible demons and stuff around here. There's one. Visible demon. 1, 2, you're dead.
Freaky.
Active camouflage from Halo and all that, sort of predecessor to that potentially too. Now let me tell you. Oh, jeez, that guy went flying. I'll take this moment to maybe describe a little bit more about the future of this series. We plan on it not just to be myself, Shifty, and Shane with us. We are going to be inviting other members of our little crew, Crimson Black, onto this series as we go, depending on whether the game sort of means a lot to them. We are going to... Sorry, you may go ahead.
For example, we met Lone Star on Halo CE, Halo Custom Edition. So we definitely like to get him on board for that. And then, of course, our older brother Jordan, he's a big fan of these nostalgic games, so he'll like to be in on quite a few, I think.
Yes. And as you said, I'm very much looking forward to the Halo CE one, because that is, I think, one that's maybe, and this is probably a bit too hard to really say for sure, but in terms of the games that mean sort of like the most to us personally, a lot of these games are nostalgic and all that, sure, but in terms of ones that had the most impact, I would almost have to say that Halo CE would have to take the cake. It does feel weird to say though, because of all the amazing games that, you know, we have played over the years and the ones that have, you know, defined our childhood back. I think Halo, like
it's definitely up there. I'd say top 3.
Looking at the list, there's probably none of the other ones there that we've really sunk more time into, you know. And
that's true.
The fact that the origins of Crimson Black sort of lie. Oh, that's a pistol. The origins of Crimson Black sort of lie.
Ooh, you're getting stormed.
The origins of Crimson Black sort of lie in Halo CE. I think it's going to be very important, and maybe is sort of like the #1 most important game to us out of the whole bunch. Oh boy, there's no escaping these guys, is there? It is hell after all. Hey.
I like how they fall down.
Yeah.
Just kind of immediately slide across the floor.
Slide across the floor as the 2D...
Those physics.
Yeah, the 2D corpse just kind of slides its way across the ground.
Just like one single sprite.
Yes. Ah, this is what I opened. Nah, I like that a lot. These games sort of mean a lot to me, even if it's just like recreations or stuff you see on like Flash games where it's like inspired by 2D games and all that. I find that, I don't know, for some reason these games are both exciting and also a little bit creepy at the same time. But, you know, it makes you feel something, and I guess that's probably important. Which is funny, because this game makes me feel a lot, I won't say scared, but like, you know that, like, you feel in the back of your mind that you're fighting demons, right, and stuff like that, and the sound effects are still fairly haunting, even if they are a bit dated, but like, this game makes me feel more than like the most recent Ubisoft releases have, so I don't know.
Well, if anything, like a lot of the creepypastas and shit, are anything to go by. There's a certain creepiness to nostalgia in general, right?
Yes, absolutely. What was it called? There was recently a very popular horror game that was made that was inspired sort of by that fear of nostalgia and sort of old games graphics. It was called what was it called? No Players Online, I believe it was called.
I knew you were going to bring that one up.
I'm not sure if you've heard of. For those of you who don't know, if you're in on the gaming scene, especially the modern gaming scene, you probably have. But for those of you who haven't, No Players Online is sort of a horror game that. Where am I going? I don't know where I'm going. No Players Online is sort of a horror game that sort of takes place in what's meant to be like an empty server of like a dead game from the 90s, and basically you just sort of wander around, and I won't spoil anything, but you wander around and creepy shit happens, and and speaking of creepy,
you get haunted by a ghosty.
You get haunted by a ghost of the game or something like that. And speaking of creepy, this is the part from before that said, and
this part scared the shit out of me.
And this is
it's challenging, especially with those invisible demons.
Yeah.
They can just rush up on you.
No, there's one right behind me.
You can do it. That's the end.
That's the end of that. Okay, so I think I am actually going to jump ahead and play one of the later missions, just so we can get maybe a little bit more take on what we missed growing up. Because, we've played this 1,000 times, right? We've been through it, but I actually haven't played a lot on, I've played, once through the Shores of Hell, and about halfway through Inferno. And I kind of want to see what Thy Flesh Consumed is, because this one was one that was separate from the original 3. And I believe the original creator of Doom made this separately with his own sort of team. So I'm going to do this on Hey Not Too Rough, because I've never actually done this before. This is going to be brand new. So, shotgun right in front of me here. And I've never seen this before. Got guys up there. This is very interesting.
It's sure a different texture on the walls and stuff.
Yeah, like that. And there's a different environment for every series, of course. But this is, of course, Thy Flesh Consumed.
You can already tell it looks more detailed, though. It looks like they've kind of advanced in artistry already.
It's definitely later in sort of like the cycle. Can I open this? Oh, you can press space on those. And if I press one over here, it looks like it opened up a thing with some invisible. This is the second second lowest difficulty, and an invisible pinky was in there. So that's a good sign for what's to come. We got guys in prison cells here.
Man, they must be badass if their own guys are imprisoning them.
Yeah, jeez, dude. Oh my goodness, they are...
Now, do they die in the acid? Or are they immune?
I wish I could tell you. Where did this guy come from? Boy, they got a lot of health.
No kidding. You don't.
I do not. Where did that guy teleport to? What is that?
Uh-oh. On your 6.
On my 6. This is a Call of Duty game. Oh, look at that. A little power up there. Where are these guys coming from behind me? Oh my goodness, that is actually quite difficult.
Dang. They just keep coming out of nowhere.
I believe that actually might be the thing. Now that I think about it, I think there's a whole gimmick of this one is that guys sort of appear in your blind spots. I believe they have like a spawning thing where they do... See? Where did that guy come from? Or did he come from back here? He may have come from back here.
I'm getting the sense that they're invisible spawning.
Yes, I think there might be. Invisible spawning. I'm going to just kill this pinky, then head this way. Let's see what's over here. Oh, you need a red key to open this door. Okay.
I always love the amount of detail that goes into the player character's face. You know, he's just like he's got these shifty eyes looking around, and then when he shoots,
that's me.
He gets this grimace. And
oh, look! Did you see that? See that? Look, they are spawning. Look, they have that green animation, and it's
you can actually see them coming in then.
Okay, so this is
you've got to keep moving at all costs.
The point of this is not to kill everyone you see necessarily. The point is to kill guys in your way, grab power-ups, and keep moving.
Wonder how this would combine with nightmare mode when the enemies respawn. If they would just be an endless number of them, or...
I believe that what I got there was red keycard. Oh, I'm gonna die here. I don't know the way back
You're
up.
in some trouble. You're in some trouble.
I don't know the... I'm gonna die. Yep. Oh, no!
Wow.
Yes.
You might have to go to the pussy difficulty.
I'm not going to the pussy difficulty. I'll just quit the game. Yeah, so that was sort of our playthrough of the original Doom. I really did enjoy strolling down memory lane, and this is just episode 1 of what's hopefully going to be a long series for us here at Crimson Black.
So stay tuned. We're going to have lots more content, not just in this series, but all kinds of different videos coming up on the channel. So definitely stay tuned for more. We also just started up an Instagram, and what's the tag for that?
The tag is _Crimson_Black.
Go check it out.
It should be in the description below. Alright, everyone. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in the next one.
Peace out.